over to Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and Deputy Whip Chris Warkentin are speaking to reporters about the new Liberal cabinet. Let's listen in.
Travaillons avec le gouvernement et lorsque le gouvernement
when the government acts in our country's interest, we will support that. We will review what they are doing, and when they're right, we will support them. But when they're wrong, we will oppose them. We want our country to succeed. We want the best for Canada. We hope that the government will make the right decisions. We campaigned to bring home the Canadian promise that every person who works hard is entitled to a beautiful home on a safe street and a nice future. Regardless of where you come from, if you work hard, you can achieve your dreams. To do that, change is needed in government policy. That means increasing buying power of workers and seniors by reducing expenses and waste and the deficit. That means doing away with bureaucratic barriers so that our businesses can build more affordable housing and exploit our natural resources. That means putting money back into the pockets of Canadians. It means protecting our streets with stricter laws and stronger borders. Canadians cannot continue with the same liberal policies that prevented our youth from being able to access homeownership, that has driven up the cost of food 37% faster here than in the United States, that has driven up crime across Canada. During his first press conference, Mr. Carney had convincing speeches on some of these issues. And now is the time to show whether he was serious. For the time being, we can't say that things are getting off to a good foot. The first deception comes from his cabinet, which still contains some of the main ministers that worked with Justin Trudeau. Stephen Guilbeault. His radical environmental program put an end to the development of natural resources and will make us more dependent on the United States. Then Sean Fraser, who was the Minister of Immigration, who caused the immigration crisis. Then he was Minister of Housing and caused the housing crisis. And now we expect that he is going to be the minister to solve the crime crisis, also created by the Liberals. Ms. Freeland, who had enormous deficit and tax hikes, and now paying $1 billion a week on interest of our national debt due to this out-of-control spending, and she is still in cabinet. Mr. François-Philippe Champagne, he was the Minister of Industry when Canada had the worst economic growth in the G7. He contributed to the worst economy in a generation. And now he's in charge of finance. The list goes on with Joly, Leblanc, Badou, Annan. Ms. Annan was president of the Treasury Board that caused bureaucratic spending to explode out of control. The same groups of Justin Trudeau. 14 Trudeau ministers are now in Carney's cabinet. That isn't the change that Mr. Carney promised. It's still the same Liberal recipe when the country needs real change. Even the new ministers in the cabinet bring with them bad Liberal ideas. For example, Gregor Robertson. He supported the legalization of hard drugs. When he was the mayor of Vancouver, there was an increase of 600% in the number of overdoses in that city. Moreover, he is now responsible for housing, and when he was the mayor of Vancouver, he increased the taxes on house building by 141%. What is the consequence of that? The cost of housing has gone up by 149%, and Vancouver has become the most expensive city for real estate in North America. And now this guy is going to be responsible for housing across Canada? Wow. If that's the renewal that Mr. Carney is bringing to his cabinet, then unfortunately Canadians will not have real change. The Conservatives will continue to demand solutions for all Canadians. We will propose solutions. For example, we'll propose to solve the housing crisis that the Liberals have caused. And that's not by creating new red tape. It's by eliminating red tape and taxes to encourage more building. We'll propose solutions to crime by putting repeat offenders and real criminals in jail. We'll put an end to the drug crisis by proposing more treatment for those who have an addiction. We will propose firm caps on immigration so that we can reduce population growth and allow housing, health, and the job market to be able to catch up. We need to continue proposing solutions to bring the cost of living down. That means cutting red tape, consultants, corporate BS, and foreign aid. All of this will reduce government inflation. And most importantly, we need to reestablish our economic independence across Canada by repealing anti-pipeline laws and anti-development laws like C-69, by eliminating the carbon tax on our industries, by allowing pipelines to be built, and by removing the cap on energy production. That is what will be necessary to bring back economic growth and to be more independent from the United States. We will defend young people, and we will fight for their future. We'll fight for workers who need better jobs and better wages. We'll fight for all regions of Canada to unite our country. I'm proud to have run a campaign that invited people from all backgrounds and ages, people who have never been Conservatives before, and they want us to fight for them. We have all the resources we need here in Canada and the tools to be the richest country in the world. So we can do that if we have good policy based on common sense. But it won't be easy if we don't make radical, quick change as the Liberals proposed. Mr. Carney needs to change course. And I think that he can be open to listening. I proposed many ideas in the last 3 years, and many of them were stolen. But that doesn't make me bitter. In fact, today I would say to Mr. Carney, steal my ideas. I want you to steal my ideas. I won the debate on the carbon tax, on inflation and housing, and on drugs, crime, and natural resources. And I've already noticed that the Liberals even copied and pasted some of my policies. So we will continue to propose good solutions. And we hope that the government will, in fact, agree to listen to our approach. When they do so, if they do so, then we will support those kinds of policies. Every day, by any means, we will fight for our people, for our country, in order to give people back control over their lives with higher salaries, affordable, abundant housing, accessing home ownership, lower taxes, safer streets, and a stronger armed forces. That's what our country needs. To put Canada first, it's our goal, and we will do that.
In English, by congratulating the new ministers for their roles. It's literally a 1 in a million opportunity. I think they have 40 ministers in total, and there's about 41 million people, so it's literally 1 in a million to be a minister, and a big accomplishment to get to that place. The Conservatives will take our role of holding the government accountable seriously. That doesn't mean we reflexively oppose everything the government does. When it comes, for example, to foreign affairs, if the government does a good job at defending our national interests in negotiations with the U.S., then we will support those efforts. When they're right, we'll stand with them. When they're wrong, we will oppose them. We hope the country succeeds We want the nation to do well. We ran on the promise of bringing home Canada's promise. A very simple deal that Canada used to provide, which is that anyone who works hard gets a great life in an affordable home on a safe street under our proud flag. That means boosting the buying power of our workers and seniors by cutting wasteful spending and bureaucracy to bring down taxes and inflation. It means freeing workers and businesses to build more affordable homes and develop resources. It means unleashing investment by cutting and simplifying taxes. It means protecting our streets with stronger laws and borders. Canadians cannot afford more high-spending, high-taxing, over-regulating, out-of-touch Liberal policies that have priced young people out of homes, inflicted crime waves on our communities, driven 2 million people to the food bank, and made life unbearable for too many hardworking and decent people. In his first press conference, Mr. Carney talked a good game about reversing Liberal policies in these areas, but now we have to find out if he was serious. And so far, it's not a promising start. The first disappointment is, unfortunately, his cabinet. He appointed Trudeau's old team and Trudeau's old advisors. Stephen Guilbeault, whose radical green agenda would shut down all future developments in our resource industry, is still the minister responsible for Quebec. Sean Fraser was the immigration minister who caused the immigration crisis, the housing minister who gave us the housing crisis, and now he's the minister responsible for addressing the Liberal crime crisis. It seems like he is the master at failing upward. Chrystia Freeland, who as finance minister hiked capital gains tax and carbon taxes and massively grew our debt to the point where we now spend $1 billion a week on interest, stays in the cabinet. Then there's Gary Anadesangari, the new Minister of Public Safety, who said the actual crimes, the actual issues around bail are quite sound, and they are embedded in, codified in law right now, as in to say that there's nothing wrong with the system. Well, in fact, there's everything wrong, as we see from the growing crime wave on our streets. Then there's François-Philippe Champagne, Trudeau's Minister of Everything, who never really managed to do anything. And he did it very loudly. But nice guy. I'll give him credit, he's a nice guy. But he was the Minister of Industry during which we had the worst economic growth of any country in the G7. And now he's in charge of the budget. Then there's Joly, LeBlanc, Haidu, Anand. Anand was the president of the Treasury Board, during which time the bureaucracy and the consultant bills blew out of control. In all, 14 Trudeau ministers are now in Carney's cabinet. It's more of the same when Canada needs real change. Even the new additions are problematic. Gregor Robertson was the mayor of Vancouver who pushed for total legalization of hard drugs, distribution of tax-funded opioids. During his time there was a 600% increase in overdoses. Now he's the housing minister. Well, what's his record on housing? Well, he increased housing taxes in Vancouver by 141%. And the result was that housing costs went up by 149%, more than doubling the costs and giving Vancouver, his city, the most expensive housing prices in all of North America. Now, Mr. Carney puts this gentleman in charge of housing. If this is the new blood that Mr. Carney is bringing into the cabinet, then sadly for Canadians, nothing is going to change, and the role of the Conservative Party will be more important than ever. Conservatives will continue to push real solutions. We'll put forward constructive ideas to reverse the housing crisis, make food affordable, and grow our paychecks. These sorts of things cannot be solved with more bureaucracy and liberal laws. We need common sense results. And that's why Conservatives will continue to push for less spending, less taxes, less inflation, to lock up criminals, remove bureaucracy, speed up home building and resource production. We need to put forward real solutions on crime, for example, to toughen up penalties for repeat violent offenders and end the revolving door of broken bail. We will also demand the government actually impose a real cap on immigration so that we can stop the uncontrolled population growth that has put too much pressure on our housing, job, and healthcare systems.